Okay, so today I want to talk about phonemes. What is a phoneme? A phoneme is the smallest meaning distinguishing sound unit in a language. So what is the difference between bus and buzz? So this is bus and this is buzz. Ba is the same, ba is the same. So this is za and this is sa. The word bus, regardless of how it's spelled in regular orthography, forget about this. We already know that this is not a good measure of how many sound units it has. It has three letters here, three sounds. But here you have four letters, but still three sounds. So don't worry about this. When I'm talking about it, I'm talking about the transcription. So obviously they mean two different things. And the way the difference in meaning, the semantic difference, is communicated is by changing sa to za. And we already know that sa, so it's the voiceless alveolar fricative. Even za is an alveolar fricative, but it's voiced. You have voicing distinguishes the two sounds. They differ in one feature, and they share two features out of three. But it doesn't matter. In English, voicing is contrastive. It means voicing a sound may result in difference in meaning. So the point is here, sa and za in English are two different sounds because they contrast meaning. You can safely say that sa and za are two different sounds in English because they contrast meaning. You can say it in technical language. You can say sa and za in English are two different phonemes. There's no problem in distinguishing sa from za in the sense that you can say, okay, sa is a different sound than za. We can agree on that, right? But whether how important that difference is depends on language. So these are language-specific statements. In English, sa and za are two different phonemes because they make a semantic difference. They're contrastive. So if you just think of sa and za purely as sound segments, you're thinking of them as phones. So phones are studied in phonetics. But whether they make a semantic difference, if they do, then they are different phonemes, which is studied in phonology. Phones, they are what you actually hear. They exist in sound as sound waves. They are a physical reality. But phonemes are a mental reality. They're a cognitive reality. This is the physical reality. These are a cognitive reality in the sense that phonemes do not exist outside our mind. They exist in our mind. Let me give you a different example. The phones pa and the phone b, are these contrastive in English or not? B and p. These are two different words again, right? Because they differ only in one sound. Ba and pa. And again, if you look at the chart, you see that they're both bilabial and they're both plosive, but one of them is voiced and the other one is voiceless. And this is, of course, language specific. Now we can introduce a new concept, minimal pair. What is a minimal pair? Here providing a minimal pair for ba and pa. So the sounds in question are ba and pa. But here you're providing a minimal pair for sa and za. Why is it important to have minimal pairs? If you have a minimal pair, if you take two phones, for example, pa and ba, you know purely as pure sounds. So in the physical reality, they are two different phones. But whether they make a semantic difference in a particular language depends on the way the speakers of the language understand the relation between phones. So it could be that in a language, pa and ba do not result in a difference in meaning. Once they make a difference, make a semantic difference, you can say they form a minimal pair. And once you have a minimal pair for two sounds in question, the conclusion is that in this language, which is English, pa and ba are two different phonemes. This is how you understand, how you find out whether in a given language b and p are two different phonemes or they are just two different phones. So allophones are phones. Let me take another sound, tap and p. The fact is that in English, if you want to pronounce p accurately, you need to do something else. In English, this one it's not b, it's not b, it's p. You see, when you want to pronounce this word in English, you just don't say pa, pa. You just say pa with a lot of puff. This puff of air, which is indicated by using this superscript H, this is called aspiration. We describe this, we say that pa and p is aspirated. So the p here is aspirated, here it's not aspirated. If you just get rid of aspiration here, b, even if you say b, which is kind of weird because people don't usually say b, they say p. The point here is that even if you do not aspirate it, you don't get a new word. So basically aspirated p and unaspirated p are not two different phonemes in English. You can't find a minimal pair in English with aspirated p and unaspirated p. Therefore, aspirated p and unaspirated p are not two different phonemes. If I say tap and unrelease and then tap, or if I just say tap, you see, no matter how you pronounce it, they don't mean different things. They mean the same thing. You say tap, you can say tap unreleased, or you can say tap, okay? They don't mean three different things. They mean the same thing. Here, I introduced this notation, slash instead of square brackets, right? So this slash is for phonemic transcription, for transcribing phonemes. So this one potentially could be three different allophones. So this is only a mental reality. Once it's pronounced, it could be this, it could be this, or it could be this. There is a way to show this in technical language. This sound, this phoneme in English could be aspirated. It could be not aspirated. So basically you can't pronounce this. This is just a concept. This is the mental reality. Once you pronounce it, if I say the sound pa, I already aspirated it. I already pronounced an allophone of it. So now we can write a rule. So this is basically the general rule of pa. Whether this is pa with no aspiration, pa with aspiration, or unreleased pa, is predictable based on these rules. We have three different rules. The allophone this becomes this word initially, becomes this after s, becomes this word finally. This way of writing this is called distributional statement. When these sounds are different variants, different allophones of this phoneme, we need to make a language-specific statement because phonology is language-specific. In English, these sounds are in complementary distribution. Again, in English, the and the are in contrastive distribution. The word contrast is in reference to meaning, of course, so they contrast meaning. These are all phonetic variants, but whether they are mental realities, which means phonology, depends on the language, the way the speakers of the language put them in a system. And that's called the phonology of the language. Phonemes are contrastive, allophones are non-contrastive. Phonemes have unpredictable distribution, allophones have predictable